Thursday, we get to look at your business queries and we give you solutions to just those. Of course, with our sole mission of ensuring that we transform our country's economy a business at a time. And I always tell you that business starts with yours. All right. So we do have two similar questions that did come through. Let's take a listen before we get into the solutions. And before I tell you what special person we have today to break those solutions down for you.
Good morning. My name is Emmanuel. Yeah, may I have a question that what if you make your business and every year it's just declining? What do you do for it?
TV mwashize mtie mjebale mirimo kakati nze bampita Mwonge Derek mbali na business nkola for almost 4 years back. Business yasooka netambula bulungi nenjikola negenda bulungi nenituuka ekiseera nga tekyatambula mbadde ntunda curtains ennungi, bed covers, amasuuka. Nenfunamu challenge nti mbadde njikolera ku nsala emu gavumenti nebanga mwezi tekkiriza abasuubuzi baayo kujja mu ggwanga lyaffe Uganda kulabika nga bagula ebintu ati nembigezaako nnyo naye nagenza okulaba nga stockinga n'amabanja ne gafuuka amabanja nendabika nga sikyagisobola kati bwe nalabise nga sikyagisobola sawa zino ndi wano ntudde waka naye ndowooza mulimu ki gwe ngenda okukola kuba nasigazaawo ka kapita katonotono naye nga simanyi kikyakola kyensobola kuteekamu ssente. Endabika nga ate nziramu okukola nange nyimirire ng'abantu abalala bayimirira. Bwe mbadde nsaba kumpa ku magezi nakola buli ya bizinesi ki enyinza okuteekawo kuba kati nze omutwe ogwange mpulya nga gwesibye simanyi kikyengenda kuzzaako neyanziza.
So are you allowing us to hit two birds with one stone? Yes, let's do just that because the two questions are quite similar. Now, just to recap what the last question was, of course, the content being the same with the first question, to translate that for you who doesn't understand Luganda. Now, Mr. Derek was asking, he was actually saying, and I will read this, I have been in the business of selling curtains for over 4 years. Everything initially went well and I made good profits until I started borrowing money to expand my business. Now the debts accumulated and then my business started shrinking. I'm now left with almost nothing. I'm so confused. I don't know whether to continue with the same business or venture into something else, but I can't even think of any viable idea. Kindly advise me. Help. All right, so we do have your questions. Sit there, take note of whatever we're going to say this morning, and I always say implement is the only solution that can give you real and tangible results. So in studios to have that conversation and to break it down totally, completely, so you can get to understand where to start from, I'm joined by Mr. Newton Buteraba. He is the CEO of House of Wealth right here in the country. Welcome to the show.
Morning, Mala.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you? Great.
I'm great.
Looking good.
Thank you.
Cheers.
So do you. All right, so let's get into it. We have Emmanuel who is asking, what should he do because his business is going under? And we also have Derek who went into the details, saying that he was in the curtains business 4 years, doing quite well, very happy, profits. We're good. But he got to that, how will I put it, very enticing stage that many entrepreneurs get into.
Which is true.
Which is scaling up the business, expanding the business. But what he did wrong, instead of using his profits to expand his business, he borrowed. Now he's indebted.
True.
People are looking for him to return their money.
And he actually mentioned that he's resigning himself from home. Yeah.
Exactly. So where should he start when your business is getting to that at the brink of insolvency?
Yeah.
Where should you start?
All right. Thank you for this opportunity to give the viewers some of the things they could actually use in such situations. We have a gentleman called Emma and he's saying he started his business, but what can he do because it's failing every year and every year. Now, he has not mentioned how many years it has failed, but all I can say is for every business owner, all of us who do business, we know that failure is a recipe for success in the business.
Correct.
I can analogize by looking at a woman who has conceived. When a woman has just conceived, we know she has 9 months to give birth. But if she called in either the auntie or the mom and told them, my stomach is growing bigger and bigger every day, that can't be a matter of complaint. It's actually a good sign that your stomach is growing bigger and bigger every day, because I mean the baby is developing. So because the stomach grows bigger and bigger every day, it means that's what we have to go through to get the baby.
Correct.
Now, even in business, the failure and failure and failure and failure are all recipes for success. In fact, you may want to know that the forces which run the planet Earth, that is the way they sieve us through. Everyone wants to make money such that we are all well. Now, those forces, what they do, they're like, okay, let's test you with some failure. So failure will have you jump off or actually stay. You will realize that the people who actually succeed, they did only one thing. They stayed amidst the failure. There is if you use Dropbox, that software where they store information, the CEO and founder was called Drew Houston. He said, you do not have to fear failure. You only have to get it once. Now, this person who started a business and it is failing and failing and failing, he does not have to worry. He will only get it once. But how can he get it once? Right. He has to look for a mentor. Because there are people who are successful in business. I'm running a successful business. You're running a successful business.
Right. If
he came to any of us or any of his uncles or any of his friends, I mean, it's open there. They can give him the tricks. So that's what he has to do. You either get yourself a mentor or a friend who is actually doing it, and he shows you. You see the difference with the street and school. In school, we were not allowed to copy. In fact, if you copied in school,
right,
you were sent back home. But when we come in the field and we are looking for money, all the people you see who are successful have copied. They come, they copy, or they ask for the answers.
So what you're saying is that if you walk alone, then it's so hard for you to get to learn, you know, the mistakes that other people did.
Exactly.
So for him, probably the reason as to why he's failing time and again, year in, year out, is because he hasn't bothered to consult with others.
Exactly.
All right.
He's bringing the mentality of school where you used to hide your work and you do not ask around. Now, when you come in the field, you ask your way to success. People have done, you could find the business is doing, someone else has done it.
Right.
So you only have to ask your way to success. You either read a book or you ask your way to success. Now, when I just cross over to a gentleman who was saying he was dealing in curtains, bed covers, and I think there were bed sheets.
Right.
And he says he was taking the business to the border. Then one country said it wouldn't transact with the other country. Then his business suffers. He mentioned debt in there. And he also mentioned remaining with some very little money, but he resigning himself at home. Now, there are very many things surrounding that. And I wouldn't think the approach we would use would be to throw around all the answers. But I'm just going to diagnose it and try to see what we can do.
Correct.
One, the way he mentioned it stipulated he has a single source of income. One big mistake. You cannot have a single source of income. We as human beings, we've been given 24 hours a day. We've been given red blood, like you have 24 hours a day like anyone else. You have red blood like anyone else, and you also have 1.3 kilograms of a brain like anyone else. But we have people who are involved in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 businesses. The reason the reason he's suffering, it's because he did not understand the kind of war he's fighting. Let me break it down to you, Mala. Every day you have to fight a daily expenditure war.
Correct.
Where you spend, even if, for example, even if we had said we are not coming to work today and we stayed home, we would still spend. I mean, you have to call in and say, I won't be able to come. Airtel or MTN, they already earn money. So you're like, let me now switch on TV and see whom they have hosted. When you put on TV, the petty, you get electricity bills and water bills if you drink anything or you shower at home or you iron anything. So even if you chose not to work on a daily basis or on a given day, you would still spend.
Correct.
So it means there is a war every human being is fighting, which is a daily expenditure war. Now you fight that by bringing a daily income. You fight the daily expenditure war by bringing in a daily income.
Right. So what you're saying is that it's important to diversify. So
exactly.
For Derek, pretty much, it's because he was, relying on one, stream of income without diversifying his, funnel of, flow of, cash flow. So let's talk about maybe the other probable mistake he did. Him actually borrowing to scale.
Okay.
At what point should an entrepreneur scale, and where should they get their finances to scale? Okay. Is it advisable to borrow to scale your business?
Yeah. If I, just before I even take you borrow, let me use just a few seconds to finish on what I mentioned. I usually advise people that to run through this financial crisis life, you have to get a daily income, a monthly income, and a quarterly income. You have those three, you will never have to borrow. You will never even run short of money, because every day when you have an expenditure and you have a daily income, they match out each other.
Correct.
If you have a monthly income, by the time your landlord also comes, they match out each other. When you have fees which are quarterly, and you're also dealing in something like seasonal, which is agriculture, they match out each other. Now when you only have one monthly income, like a salary, you will always have the salary, which is monthly, fight the daily, and fight the quarterly, which is fees. You always run short. Now, when you run short, that's why it links into here. When you run short of money, usually people will run to the bank. And I'm not saying going to the bank is bad.
Correct.
That's why you ask, at what point would anyone go to the bank? This is when you go to the bank. There is something in business we call leverage. In leverage is when you have to put in little and you actually get a lot. If you look at opening a bottle of soda with an opener, the opener is the lever. If you tried opening the bottle of soda with your fingers, you really can't. You will struggle. It will get all this blood on it. But when you get an opener and you put it on a bottle top, you'll now use little energy, because the opener is the lever. So you use the opener, and all along the bottle is open. So the opener gives you leverage. You put in little, but you get the whole entire strong thing which you couldn't have handled open. Now, even when it comes to business, you have to look for leverage. The moment people are asking for a particular kind of good that it runs out on a daily, then it means when you get in the loan and you channel it to this particular good, you're going to make all the money from it.
All right.
Now the problem with, and I've seen it all over, it's in Europe, it's even in US, it's even in Uganda. People just anticipate and walk to the bank, because the bank will always advertise low interest rates, this is the amount, you do not have to bring. So the people come for the money. Then go with the money and say, now what should I do? You're already 3 steps back. You are actually dead with the money. But when, for example, I'm dealing in phones, I'm bringing maybe Samsung phones, I'm bringing Techno phones, I'm bringing also ITEL phones. The moment people ask for ITEL, and they ask for ITEL, and I'm running out of ITEL, it means when I borrow and bring these ITEL phones, I will have a cash flow that will pay the bank.
So making sure that your venture actually tallies with the need.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. Now he also that's to do with that. But I'll also want to tell him something. In Luke chapter 5 verse 4, we see the disciples in the Bible come to Jesus and they tell him, we spent all night on the lake, we did not catch anything. Now Jesus told them, go and launch in the deep. That's where the whole entire business sense is. Why didn't Jesus tell them to change the lake? He didn't tell them to change the lake. He didn't tell them to change personnel. He didn't tell them to change the nets. He told them, use the same lake, use the same nets, use the same personnel. But this time, throw them and cast those nets in the deep. What that really means is, when you're doing any business and it actually fails, you cannot go to another business. You just can't.
Newton, at what point do you give up? I mean, there comes a time in the life of an entrepreneur that you feel like you've tried everything. You've consulted. You've done everything. You've gotten to the tail end of things and you want to give up. So at what point do you just let everything go? Now,
and it's a very good question you've asked. You see, business is not an emotional venture.
All right.
Business is strictly a numbers venture. When you enter into something, the numbers should tell you. For example, when you bring your products to the market, in business sense, you're asking questions. You bring the products, but the question you've asked is, do you customers want this?
Correct.
When they do not buy, they would have answered. The customers would have answered. For example, if I want to sell jackfruit and I go on maybe Camper Road and I come with jackfruit, me as a business person, I've asked a question. Do you want jackfruit? Now, if they do not buy on the first day, if they do not buy on the second day, they have answered that we because they are eating jackfruit elsewhere. But the answer is, we do not want jackfruit from there. Now, to launch in the deep would mean I would still stay in the jackfruit business but change location.
All right.
You get that?
So change strategy.
Exactly.
Just try out.
You want to go to Kampala. You are either going to use a border, you're either going to use a taxi, or you use private means, or you will walk, or you will run. But you have to go to Kampala.
Okay, so what you're telling Derek, because he was asking, he's actually at the brink of insolvency, and he wants to give up on this particular business and get into something else. What you're telling him is to change strategy and not to give up on that.
For example, he mentioned that a border is closed.
Correct.
Uganda has how many borders?
Many.
There is a Congo border, there is a Southern Sudan border, there is Nairobi, Uganda, Kenya, there is Uganda, Tanzania. So if the only border is Uganda, Rwanda, if that is closed, you just roll over. you've changed strategy already.
All right, so your quick solutions for Emmanuel, the first one, is to make sure that he get mentors.
Exactly.
Now, mentors will help him understand everything. If he had, challenges with his cash flows, registering his, making sure that his books are, streamlined and in line, then the mentors will show him every single stage.
They will help him cheat on the exam.
They will help you cheat on the exam. All right, so Emmanuel, you have your solution. Make sure that you work with mentors. Now, for Derek, what you're telling him is change strategy. Don't give up on the business.
Exactly. Yeah. Because when he goes into another business, he will have to pay another price.
Correct.
For not knowing. I call it the stupidity tax.
All right. Quick solution again for him as you come to a close, as you wrap this up. He's battling with, he's indebted, so to speak. So how does he go about paying back? And he says that he doesn't have money. So how does he pay back this money?
So he mentioned that he has some very little amount of money.
Correct.
Which is staying. So one, he needs to get in touch with all his creditors and tell them the situation. When you have a date, you do not run away. you keep in touch with the creditors. So he lets them know of the current situation, and he either asks for some time or he looks around his resources to see what he can sell off.
Okay.
Yeah, you could sell off. People have cars and they're dying of debt.
Right.
Sell off the car, pay the debtors, such that the money is still flowing.
All right.
Yeah, and you get actually more capital when you sell something.
Whoa, thank you so much, Newton. I mean, you're the kind of man who gives just one solution, but when you break it down, actually it's fully faceted.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in studios.
Thank you very much.
So Emmanuel and Derek, we wish you all the best. Remember, the numbers are on your screen: 0750-933-088. I hope you've taken note. Just in case you face challenges in the implementation bit, let us know. Those are the numbers. So for you, the business person who's grappling with challenges, what you do, send us a voice note or a voice recording of you telling us what the challenge is. Just try as much as possible to be details as well, so that we can give you, custom-made solutions to the same. So we do this every Wednesday and Thursday. That's it for today's episode. This brings us to the wrap of Morning at 10 TV. Thank you so much for being part of us. We'll see you tomorrow, 6:30 to 9 a.m. Have a blessed day.
Watching Morning at NTV.
Amanya gange nze Dr. Banda okuva Ministry y'ebyobulamu.